Nut Nerd Podcast, episode 297, the category of dog.
Welcome to the Nut Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
I could not be more excited to help people tech better today, Nate.
Yes.
We got a lot on the docket, and I'm excited to dig in.
Yes. We were just talking pre-show, peek behind the curtain about the importance of knowing how to use technology and what's going on with technology in business and how some people seem to ignore that. But
yes.
I don't know how much will help the business-minded folks today, but we've got the tech news stories that are going around and some tips and picks that'll hopefully be of interest to all of our wonderful listeners.
Well, that is our hope and our goal for sure.
Yes. Well, first up in our follow-up this week, we were just talking last week. There's the big story, and I just clicked the link, and it looks like it's hidden behind a paywall, but that's all right, because I know what it's about. We talked about, Amazon and all the dangerous goods. Well, they will be paying up to $1,000 for, damage or dangerous products sold by third parties.
Yikes.
With Amazon. So, they're putting in some protections in place as they take over the world, and we'll be talking about them a little later in the show as well. But it's good to see them offering some of these things, which I will mention. If they're able to do up to $1,000, that means they are making lots. Remember when Amazon didn't make lots of money? They didn't make a profit.
Yeah.
And now they have money to be able to do these things and make the bad stories go away.
I don't know that I buy that they never really were making money. It's just how they do their
financials.
Yeah, their financial sheet determines how much money they make.
Yes.
With the stroke of a pen, they're either bankrupt or making billions.
Yep. And a might be a guaranteed news story or follow-up each week or each month, once a month. Microsoft's Patch Tuesday we talked about last month, and I should have gone to look and see how many it was last year, week, day, month. It's all the same these days. Last month, but this month on their Patch Tuesday, they fixed 3 0 days and 44 flaws. So once again, your friendly reminder, if you run Microsoft Windows, do your updates.
There's so many, that thing is such a behemoth that if you're not updating regularly, then why even using it?
Yeah, it is crazy. In our last piece of follow-up, we talked awkwardly last week about the CSAM stuff from Apple and all the confusion there. Well, they have been on a PR blitz this last week, and they have a new PDF. There'll be a link in the show notes if you're interested in diving into that further, which some people might be. They've been doing interviews and this, that, and the other thing as they try to clarify what it all means, and that doesn't necessarily put many people at ease, but they're at least trying to explain their thinking about it and assure people that it's not going to expand to anything else as they put these things into place, right?
I just don't see how they think that so let's say that they have the best of intentions and they're like, only images that are explicit involve children. That's it. But how are they going to prevent governments and world agencies from putting pressure on them to do other things? If China says, hey, you're going to implement this or we're going to ban all phones in China, how are they going to react?
Or are you making any phones in China?
Exactly.
So
what are they going to do? So I'm not scared about Apple. I do feel that they have this altruism and they want to do the best for the humanity, but not so the governments of the world.
Yes. So we will see what happens with that, and we will also see what happens with Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
You guys may have noticed I put a little a video online, a YouTube short.
Yes.
Illustrating last week's tip of the week.
Yes. Last week might have been just about our most active posting week on YouTube between your tip of the week, our audio version of the episode, which we put on YouTube, and then a video from Wes talking about your previous pick of the week, the tentacle, which all three of us have, and he did a really fun video. I'll put a link in the show notes. You guys should go watch that. But yes, you did a video.
As you and many other people know, I use my phone a lot for photography. And we've talked in the past about how I really like Google Photos. If you don't want stuff in your camera roll, you can kind of archive it. There's an archive that you can do. And, you and I both take pictures of backs of computers, serial numbers, parts in stores, products, things we see laying on the ground that aren't really photography. They're more of, I need to document this for some other purpose later. And you don't really want those things mucking up your camera roll. Well, Apple has a similar feature in their Photos app on iOS, and it extends to the computer as well. And it's called Hidden Photos. Now, I think the intent of this feature was possibly to hide photos that weren't necessarily safe for work or have sensitive material, quote marks, sensitive material in them. Regardless, it doesn't matter. The power of this feature is that you have your normal camera roll, and it will hide photos so that they're still in your camera roll, but they're not visible as you're scrolling through. Now, one of the things that I use this for is I'll go to the camp, or we'll go hiking, or we'll go on some vacation or something, and I'll take like 50 photos of the same thing. And since I'm kind of a data hoarder, not as clinical as you are as far as data hoarding goes, but I don't want to delete all the 50 photos. It's like, the face was kind of like this way in this photo, and this one, the hand was like this. It's like, so I'll keep them, but there may be one or two that are like the select ones. And so I might hide all those other ones. So they're still in my camera roll, but when I scroll through and look at my pictures, they're not mucking up the whole thing. So here's how you get into Hidden Photos. And this goes across the past several iOS iterations. I am running, and I just thought about this for last week too, I am running the beta. So I'm hoping that these tips that I'm...
Results may vary.
Yeah, I actually double checked this on a non-beta device earlier.
Okay.
But all you do is you go into your camera library, and like I said, there's just dozens of there's a sunset. Let me take 15 pictures of that sunset, or there's this whatever. So you can either click and select one photo so that it fills your screen, or you can use the select feature. There's a button at the top corner, and then you can select multiple photos. Either way, you just need to select your photo. Then you use the share sheet. That is that square with the arrow pointing out. And when you do that, in the little list of options, there is a hide feature, and the icon is an eyeball with a line through it, like kind of a not nerd line through it. And when you do that, it will hide the photos, and you're like, wait, okay, now how do I get them back? Like, I figured out how to hide them. I want to look at them again. Well, don't worry. You just go over to the albums section of your Photos app, and down in the list, mine is at the very bottom here, says hidden, and there are 8 photos hidden in there, and I just simply tap it. It's like an album, any other album that you would make, and the photos are there. Now, if you want to take them out of there, you just select them again, and then do the share sheet, and then go down to unhide, and it has the eyeball icon without the little slash through it. So adding and removing photos to your hidden folder is not that big a deal. It's very easy to do. Now, here's a bonus pro tip. When you are in albums, you may notice there are all kinds of media types. And this is if you've made a portrait video, if you've done panoramas, they create kind of pseudo smart folders for you.
Yes.
And so if you're looking for a specific photo type, the albums is also a great area to find that. I've taken a panorama with my DJI Osmo Pocket, and it shows up under panoramas here, even though I didn't do it on my phone. So it detects that it's a panorama, probably because of the dimensions or whatever. So that's also a great way to find other media types other than the ones that you've hidden. So that's Hidden Photos on Apple Photos. So if you want to clean up your library and make it a little more trim, there you go.
Yes. And I really do wish they had a little more granularity, because like you were talking, I think I just looked and I have about 45,000 photos in my iCloud photo library.
Very easy to manage.
Yes, very easy to go through. I wish I could do more types of archiving, like tag them and maybe archive them out where it is, work stuff, personal stuff, 50 pictures of, Isla when she was a baby in the same position, which I really, again, being a digital hoarder, this is a personal problem.
Right.
But it would be nice if there was a little more granularity where you could, separate things out and keep it categorized. You can do it with albums, and you can do it with favorites, which is another good way to keep track of the pictures that you really like or really want to be able to get quick access to. But yes, it is a nice feature. And Google Photos, they'll like auto suggest sometimes, like, hey, this looks like it's a picture of a computer screen, do you want to archive these out? And but yeah, it is a very nice feature to know about.
Yeah, if I had a wish list, it would be the ability to add a photo to an album and then remove it from the main library.
Yes. That's what I would. So I could do, something like that where it's Isla baby and just get all of those out there, so it's not having to go through 45,000 photos. But with the search features and like you were talking about with the media types, it is getting much easier to find stuff. And with the faces and the places is one I use a lot.
Yeah.
If I was at your house and we were taking a picture of Isla playing Luigi on the Switch, I know that I can search Sherwood and keep zooming in, and it'll group your house with Target pictures that I've taken, and then I zoom in a little further. So it is easier to find things, which the thing that enables my digital hoarding is the search features that we have these days.
Yeah.
In the physical world, my garage, that is very difficult to find things. But in the digital world, it is easy.
You have the ability with the app now to make things easy to find. And with my pro tip of the week, you have made things easy to hide. So
yes,
best of both worlds.
True. Well, let's move on to our takes of the week. Samsung had their latest Unpacked event, which I don't know if they call, because they do a bunch of events every year, if they're all called Unpacked or if they have different names for different ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But they announced some of their new products, especially the Galaxy Z Fold 3 and the Galaxy Z Flip 3, which are both folding phone models. One that folds what I would say, goes wide, and the other one is like more of a traditional flip phone where it's more of a square that folds vertically, I would say.
The small one is reminiscent of Nintendo's Game Boy Advance SP, where it's a square and you lift it up and it becomes a tall rectangle.
Yes.
And the other one is a tall rectangle that you open up that becomes a square. So they're kind of opposite.
That's true.
And I think they're naming, they call them the Z folds, but a Z fold would be like two folds in the shape of a Z. These are more like a C fold.
Oh,
they
good
should
point.
call them a C
False
fold.
Advertising.
Yeah, it is really, but
I think fold.
Yeah, I think the Z is their brand or whatever. But yeah, I took a look at a couple of videos for these devices, and I really like what I'm seeing. Now, the Galaxy Z Fold, the tall one, what do they call those? The Z
Fold 3.
The Z Fold 3. So it's about the size of my iPhone 12 Pro Max as far as height and width. It's double the thickness.
Yes.
But imagine having an iPhone this size, and then you flip it open, and now my screen is twice the size. I could really get behind a product like that. I wish Apple would delve into this arena, and they probably will in the future. There have been some rumors that Apple's working on some of these type of devices. But good on Samsung. They started out the gate with their Z Fold, and it kind of had a lot of problems. And they pretty much just threw it in the dumpster and started again and got the number 2 out there, which was really just a replacement for all the broken ones.
Yes.
And now this is their first foray into kind of a new upgraded model. And from what I can see, they've improved every aspect of it.
Yes.
The durability, the screen on the front is bigger. They've changed some of the stuff with the cameras. They used to have a hole punch camera on the inside. Now they've got a camera that's under the display. They've had to lower the resolution for that. I don't mind the hole punch camera things. I think they're fine, but Samsung is always experimenting. They're always trying to get better, and you know that next time they're going to iterate, and it's going to be an 8 megapixel camera under the screen, and then a 12 megapixel camera under the screen, and they'll just keep getting better and better and better. So good on Samsung for trying new things and basically dominating this market, because there's not much out there for any devices and any manufacturers that are in this class. A couple people have tried, but you don't hear about them because they're not Samsung.
Yeah, and they did put they were able to do waterproofing. I watched some of the announcement, and they really are pushing the boundaries on some of the technology and stuff that they're using. But with that, the Fold 3 at $17.99, not $17.99, $1,799, and then I believe the Flip starts at $9.99. So you're definitely paying to be on the edge for these ones.
Yeah, that is a huge barrier, and hopefully the price will go down. Now, Microsoft has their Duo, which is an Android tablet that opens like a book, but it has 2 separate screens with a hinge in the middle. And I was very interested in getting one of those, especially before they changed to Android. But the price on that one as well is like $1,500, $1,600. I'm just like, it's just a little too much, a little out of my league. So I'm eager to see what happens in this space, and if they can get the prices down, I might try out some of these devices.
Yes, indeed. Well, my wife actually told me about this one before I saw the news story. Twitter's new font, Chirp, is apparently giving some users headaches. And now she didn't necessarily have a headache, but she was like, Twitter has a new font. It's really weird. And
I never noticed, I guess.
And it just came out in the last few days, I believe. And I don't think that I really noticed, but apparently some people have reported it's giving them headaches, which I kind of chalk up to one of those stories where it's like, you're always going to find somebody that has a problem with everything. But so they're using a new font, did some little redesign things in Twitter, which once again, I'll give my disclaimer. If you're not on Twitter, you probably don't need to be, but if you are and have a headache, it could be because of their new font, Chirp, that they put in there.
Now, I'm no expert, and I know that there are a lot of fonts out there, and there's even this one that's like can help people with dyslexia read the font better. It's weighted heavier at the bottom than it is at the top, so that it kind of gives a spatial. So I know that perception in fonts and stuff can make a difference, but I have never ran into a font that would give me a headache. So I kind of feel like this might just be a little...
Well, and I think maybe people notice there's a new font and notice that Twitter always gives them, or notice they have a headache, but Twitter always gives them a headache because it has that impact on people. They put a couple tweets in the article where, it said, they put a couple tweets in there. It says, read tweets with Twitter's new font and get a headache. Then maybe you'll close your eyes out of frustration and eventually fall asleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just don't have the same experience with Twitter that a lot of people have. I just read my articles and a few comments. I got to mute you once in a while, but outside of that, it's not a toxic dump ground like a lot of people have experienced.
Yes. And another story from Twitter, there has been some talk over time about their AI bias. When you post photos to Twitter, it chooses the best way to crop it so that you'll see the best part of the picture. And this one I'm going to chalk up to the category of duh. It says, Twitter AI bias contest shows beauty filters hoodwink the algorithm. The service's algorithm for cropping photos favors people with slimmer, younger faces and lighter skin. So it basically is saying that they were looking at the AI and how it crops and everything, and it favors beautiful people, which I would say all things favor beautiful people.
Yeah, that's just...
Most things favor beautiful people.
That's just biology.
Yes.
And it's no wonder that it's crept into technology as well, because people create technology.
Yeah, so people spend a lot of time looking at this and seeing that, the more beautiful the person, the more chance that the crop is going to feature them in there. Now, there was some discussion previous and some with this of lighter skin versus darker skin people, which that obviously is not what you want it doing. But look at marketing, look at actors, actresses, everything. It tends to favor the beautiful, which is why we do an audio podcast.
And we should name it The Bold and the Beautiful.
Yes.
I think there's a TV show named that already.
Amazon opens its $1.5 billion with a B air hub in Kentucky in latest push to speed deliveries.
Now, is an air hub an airport? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so basically it's an airport
with a warehouse attached to it.
Yeah, that is just for freight. So I believe it's also in Kentucky is where FedEx has their air hub. And I believe we talked about the FedEx one and just the amazing amount of planes that they can move through there, per hour, where it is just completely focused on getting product in and out as quickly as possible.
So crazy to think that they've got it, that there are so many packages going around the world and around the United States that putting packages on an airplane quickly without people, without anything else, just freight, shipping it from place to place is cost effective.
Yeah.
Because it's got to cost a lot of money to throw those planes in the air and fly them from place to place. But they're packed with so many items of varying values that it's worthwhile. It's so crazy to imagine that.
Yeah, it's a campus of over 600 acres, is designed to have capacity for 100 Amazon-branded planes and handle an estimated 200 flights per day.
Yeah.
So, and that, this probably could have gone in follow-up because we were talking last week about how, they're starting to ship things for other people. And I was having a discussion with somebody the other day and how the post office really seems to be having some problems. And we were like, oh yeah, FedEx or UPS should buy the post office. And it's like, no, Amazon will buy the post office and then they'll buy UPS and then they'll buy FedEx because once again, they're taking over the world.
Yeah, they are. At a rapid pace too.
Yes, a very rapid pace. We talked a lot about streaming TV services, and I saw a couple links to this website this week. It's suppose.tv, and what it does, you can you go there and you can do your local area, you're based on location, then you can pick which channels are important to you, and then it will compare the different cable or over-the-top services that are available to you and if they have those channels or not.
Wow. This, I clicked on ABC, K2 here in the Portland area, and it's like Lowcast, I can get it for $5.50 a month, or, I can get it over the air as well. But then, just like with the Olympics, everything goes steeply up from there. It's like $65, $60, $75 for that channel and others. Just giving more fuel to my fire that you can't really watch the Olympics or other TV shows without spending like $60 to $75 a month. It's sickening. It's cable all over again. It's just named something different. It's named YouTube TV, or it's named whatever, NBC Sports. But yeah, the cost, the amount of money that we pay to watch content, and oftentimes content with commercials still.
Yes,
drives me crazy.
I know. And I was looking, the channel that I typed in was Root, I believe it's Root Sports Northwest, which is the channel that carries the Timbers, the local soccer team, which YouTube TV does not have Roots, so I can't watch the Timbers games. But there's rumors that the Blazers might also switch over to Roots Network, which that's one of the main reasons why I pay for YouTube TV is to have the Blazer games. But it is only available, it looks like it might be available on AT&T TV Choice at $92.
I saw something here, Dish Latino Plus Apple TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused that I'm not quite sure. But so my hope is, because a friend of the show, Jared, and I have had discussions on this because we both enjoy watching the Blazers. And my hope would be that by Roots getting the Blazers, that would force these other services to pay for Roots on their networks, because he just can't get. And so I think it works on Comcast and then maybe one of the services, which I really don't want to go back to Comcast. Quick sidestep, my parents got the latest Xfinity remote because they were having some issues with theirs. It puts the old Apple TV remote to shame in user experience and interface. Like the arrow, the arrow buttons that you use to navigate a lot are nearly flat and like hard to find. It is. So sorry if you have the new Xfinity remote. Hopefully you kept your old one around, because
How are we going backwards on remotes? I mean, they've been around since the 60s. You would think that they'd get better.
Yes. Can we get like a international standard on basic remote interface usage? But anyways, I digress. And let's cleanse the palate with our bonus odd take, which this one might be definitely top 3 all-time bonus odd takes.
I went to this website. You're going to have to explain it to me.
Yes. So it is called Nestflix.fun. And it is the platform for your favorite nested films and shows. So these are fictional movies within movies, got them. Fake shows within shows, you bet. Browser selection of over 400 stories within stories. So they have taken shows that exist in other shows. If they're watching something, like there's several from The Simpsons, like the Itchy and Scratchy show.
Yeah.
Or Itchy and Scratchy movie that exists within The Simpsons. And so it's just fascinating to think, and that somebody took the time to go through and, scour. I'm sure there's lists around, or McBain from The Simpsons. So
you can't click and watch these. It's just kind of like an expose on these things.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that some of them might have some clips and things, which I wish they had more of that, or maybe someday they'll develop shows based on these things.
Well, that's what I thought. Maybe they were making their own versions of these. But here's one. MILF Island, 25 super hot moms, 50 8th grade boys, no rules.
Yes. But I do like, so it definitely would be the best bonus odd take of all time, but I like the idea that people spend time somewhat developing a show within another show just to add. So I really hope that Nestflix.fun takes off, and that we can get more stuff within there, and maybe some of the clips and all of that as they develop this. But
yeah, so these things are just all tongue-in-cheek funny, but it's amazing how many of these would make actual good comedy shows.
Yeah. So maybe, I'm sure that Netflix and all the other streaming services are carefully watching this site to see who they should give money to develop new content.
Yeah. I'll read one more just because I think they're funny. It stars John Krasinski and Paul Dooley, as seen in For Your Consideration, and it is The Paper Badge. Working the streets is tough on a cop, but working the desk can be even scarier.
Yes.
So they just do paperwork.
Good stuff. And it's funny looking through how many of these are just from the Fox Sunday night, what do they call it, the Sunday animation lineup or whatever, Family Guy, The Simpsons, American Dad. It looks like some of them, but very fun little site to go see and remember some of those things you've caught a glimpse with on some other shows.
Yeah. I need to, now that I completely understand what this is about, I need to go through and look at some of these. And many I am not familiar with at all.
Yes. This would be, if you do trivia nights, pop culture trivia nights, these would be some good things to have in your arsenal of things to know. Useless information that might come in handy someday. But useful information that might come in handy today are picks of the week.
Well, not to be outdone by Nestflix, I found another website with some not humorous content, but free content.
Yes.
And you and I do a lot of web type stuff and are into illustration and graphics and those type of things. Not everybody is, but if you have a website or a newsletter or anything that could use a little bit of kind of free clip art, look no further than illustrations.co. This person through COVID had a lot of free time on their hands and made over 100 illustrations ranging from holiday items to like computers, gaming systems, medical, whatever. Just cute little icons that you can take and add to your website completely 100% free, royalty free, copyright free. Do what you want with them. So if you have a website that you need to add some clip art to or to spruce something up, then check out illustrations.co. Do you see anything in there, Nate, that you might want to utilize?
Yeah, there's definitely some technology ones and some different random. And the nice thing I noticed is that they are available in many different file formats, including like Adobe Illustrator, so that you can press a button and download all. There's also a button to buy me a coffee and show some love, which I saw over on Netflix too. That's the thing. Make a small little donation, help me out. But, having those different file types, it would allow you to modify them if you needed to change some colors to match something. But yeah, taking a scroll through here, there's definitely, they're very fun, approachable illustrations, and I could see me using this as a resource as I create for myself, clients, and other projects, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and even if you were cheap and needed a logo for your business or something, take one of these illustrations, change a few things, add some typography at the bottom or whatever. Not typography.
Yeah. Typography.
Add some typography at the bottom, and you got yourself a logo. There's one at the camera. Dave's Camera Shop. Boom. Logo made. So your mileage may vary depending on what you want to use it for, but I just thought they were cool, and they're free.
Yeah. Yes. Well, my pick of the week this week is not my typical of finding the best of the best, but I will add a caveat. I strongly believe in the best tool for the job, and this product might be the best tool for the job because what I would consider the best tools for the job are very hard to get. And we have discussed, especially over the last year and a half, webcams. Now, you and I have looked at, purchasing when we were doing some video episodes of the podcast. We looked into getting some high-end webcams. I even have a connection at Logitech, and they said they were just out of all the high-end ones. And I had a client. She is in the sales department for this company, works from home a lot. And they do a lot of Zoom consultations and everything with the customers. And she uses an external monitor with her laptop at home, to have a bigger screen. We're big advocates of external monitors. Well, she wants to have everything on her big screen, but her webcam's on her laptop. And so she said, what should I do? So I went on Amazon and I was like, you know what? She doesn't need 1080p, HD, rotating, lit, all that crazy stuff. She needs a webcam. And I found that there is a Logitech model, the C270, which is available, and it is $25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's just 720p, but it does, has a noise reducing mic, HD light correction, works with both PC and Mac. So this isn't necessarily going to be better than the webcam built into your laptop, although it probably is slightly.
If you're on a Mac, it's going to be way better because the Mac webcams are terrible.
Oh, yes. But more importantly, it will attach or hang on to the top of your external monitor, or if you don't use a laptop, if you just have a desktop, to be able to just have a decent webcam for $25 so you're not having to use the one on your laptop or try to figure things out. So I purchased one for her. I haven't heard back, but at $25, it's got 4.5 stars on almost 11,000 ratings. Logitech is a great company. Prime, you can get it within a couple days, which, the higher end Logitech, they're just not available still.
Yeah. So yeah, with 11,000 reviews that high, and for $25, there's no risk. This thing is good. It's going to work. It's going to do what you need. So if you need a webcam in any environment, I feel like this is going to be a great option.
Yes, and I am taking a quick look, and it looks like some of the higher end ones. But again, at
what are you doing?
$25.
If you're not making a YouTube video to publish, if it's just to talk to people, it is more than sufficient.
If it's just one-to-one meeting type stuff, unless you're really giving a presentation to a large group that's going to make you a lot of money or something, it's
even then. Remember Cat Lawyer? I'm not a cat.
Oh yes.
I mean, those videos were terrible, the quality, and that was like some real type work that they were doing with these webcams, and so I can't imagine. Maybe if you're Tim Cook in front of Congress or something like that, you might want to get a little bit better webcam. But outside of that, I don't see a reason.
No, I think this is If the one in your laptop is not good enough, or you don't have a laptop or need an external monitor or something, I mean, $25, that's, she was like, is this purchase approved? And I said, I'm not even asking. I'm buying it and putting it on my invoice.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense to get that set up correctly as we continue to do many Zoom meetings, etc.
Yeah. Good pick.
Thank you so much for listening, sharing it with a friend, commenting, asking questions online, posting stuff in the Not Nerd Facebook group. That's always a fun place to see who pops in. We had a couple posts this past week, I think, and that's why we do this. We want to build a community of people that are looking to understand technology, so that you can get out there and tech better. I think I'm actually going to take my old 4K monitor with me. It was just sitting here next to my desk, and it's like, sure would be nice to have that extra real estate.
That's pretty extra, just having an extra monitor.
At some point I should sell some stuff.
Nah.
Well, with that, we will wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for listening and sharing it with and doing stuff about things.